Do you have that one game you adore so much that you cannot bring yourself to criticize? Night in the Wood is that one for me. For those of you who don't know, Night in the Woods is a 2017 indie adventure game created by Infinite Falls and published by Finji. Now, for an indie game, the sales figures were pretty impressive and the game garnered highly positive reviews all around. Its main source of fame being Jacksepticeye, which funnily enough, a YouTuber I didn't know was associated with this game until completing it. But the thing is, I think it is a game that deserves more respect than it is credited. And while I know tons of games that don't get enough credit, I think Night in the Woods is definitely high up on the list. So I thought to myself, hey, I have a YouTube channel which isn't going anywhere. Why don't I review a 5-year-old game and experiment with a more enticing title at the same time? Now, before I start the review, no, this ain't a furry game. A thing is furry if it was exclusively made with the community in mind, or else it is just an animal themed game. Now, there is gonna be some Einstein saying that is what a furry would say. I'm not even gonna respond to that. Animals are much easier to draw and animate. And come on now, are you just gonna ignore something really good because it is being wrongfully associated with a hated community? I hope you all aren't edgy teens. Like, Pokemon is literally about furries. The humans don't talk about anything else than that. They are so obsessed with their Pokemons that they don't even ask each other about their well-beings and send their 10-year-old kids to potentially life-threatening adventures. And that is the most successful franchise of all time. Yeah, rough, I know. So, here we go. This is late reviewers' fresh review of Night in the Woods. First, let's start with the graphics. I'm someone who believes that graphics are important. I know people won't like that statement, but hear me out, I think art style is even more important. Halo Combat Evolved, which is the next game I'm gonna review by the way, is a 21-year-old game which I think still looks beautiful. Now look, I'm not saying it is a graphical powerhouse or anything. It is very simple in its design, but the simple design sure did pay off as the environments look gorgeous and the textures don't have to be detailed. It creates this visual where everything is distinct from one another. And by embracing the Xbox's hardware rather than trying to get in its breaking point, we got this visual delight. For example, would you rather play New Super Mario Bros. Wii or Super Mario Galaxy on Odyssey? Boring graphics can affect the gameplay. While the new series' gameplay is generally really quality stuff, the art style prevents it from being one of the greats. That is why most people consider Donkey Kong Country Returns series the better New Super Mario Bros. Mario has almost never been a visual delight. Even if they are the system's most graphically impressive game, the art style is mostly a little too generic. But when it is good, it becomes Super Mario Galaxy. Like for example, look at Super Mario Odyssey. The vibrant colors perfectly captures Mario tone but has just the right amount of atmospheric detail that it does not look generic. Look at the new Donk City. It ripped out Sonic 06's Hub World, which is considered to be the best game of all time. Now that is what I call good game design. Or how about Final Fantasy VII with the ugly, low poly models with the highly detailed backgrounds. Yes, I'm one of the two people who will defend this game's graphics, just because of the art style and detailed backgrounds. Or Silent Hill's infamous fog born from technical limitations. Or Cuphead, which has no technical restraints. Now examples of bad graphics would be PUBG, which look like Unity assets I guess. Or Mighty Number 9, which looks like this. I can go on and on, but you get my point. But if I had to choose my favorite visual aesthetic, it would be from this game. Right behind Tekken 1 for the PS1. The visual flair is so damn calming and has been experimented in so many ways it is astounding, usually creating this thick atmosphere. Yeah, and Night in the Woods also just might be the most atmospheric game I have ever played, right besides greats like Portal, Super Metroid and One Shot. Now if you are a gamer, you know that most game graphics get stale after exactly 3.09 seconds. That is proven by organic chemistry by the way. But this game just never loses its charm. The art style is simple enough to be cute, but atmospheric enough to hit hard. The backgrounds are amazingly detailed and can be really ambitious most of the time. The whole visual design of Knight's Party with B, for example, was amazingly done. The character models also being simple but highly emotive at the same time. For example, the scene where May goes out with Angus, or when May and Greg visit the haunted house. It just looks pure beauty, almost the whole game basically. It is just some real good stuff, and by good, I mean real good. On to the gameplay then. It is not impressive. It has simple platforming elements, but they are just there to create visual variety, and there are some mini games if you can even call them.
Let's go bowling!
But at the same time, I think it was for the best, for two reasons. First, the developers get to experiment with the game's looks without worrying about the challenge factor. Secondly, do you really want to lose while playing a game like Night in the Woods? Now, I'm not saying gameplay and story cannot go together well. Valve games are the perfect example, blending fun, even if not challenging gameplay with immersive stories in one package. But Night in the Woods is way more relaxed and even more narrative focused than any game I've ever played, visual novels included. Yeah, the minigames could have been more interesting, but that is just talk. Nobody likes minigames that are actually challenging. They feel too gimmicky then. WarioWare is the only game series that managed to make them fun, and Night in the Woods did not even try making these minigames good, which was for the best in my opinion. There is also a choice system where you can choose to hang out with characters according to your own preference. It is one of the most creative ways I've seen a game encourage replayability without feeling tacked on. Plus, all the hangouts are so great that you would be encouraged even more. Now we are getting to a good one, the music. Hands down one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. It puts classic soundtracks that are considered to be the best in shame. Even outside the context of the game, they're joy to listen to. How can they even make such good stuff? So I was confused if May was a male or a female because she kinda sounds like an old man. Just search up Night in the Woods soundtrack on YouTube and listen to pure bliss like Snow, Rainy Day, Dusk Stars, Cycles 2, Angus's Story, Longest Night, and many more. Imagine that one track you learned from Final Fantasy VI, Majora Mask or Undertale or any game, but now the whole album is the best song. Though I definitely prefer the more quiet and somber tracks. Music is important in these more story-driven games as they are one of the reasons a game becomes memorable, and this game has got you covered. Just listen to all the songs I have been playing throughout this video. They are awesome. The best part about the game though is definitely the story and the characters. May is simply the best. I think she just might be my favorite video game character of all time and one of my favorite characters in general. The best part about the characters is that you genuinely start to care about them. Now I'm not the most experienced with these people being, so I think the connection with me and the characters might be enhanced because of it. But come on, May is the best. The game packs more character development in 10 hours than any game could only wish to achieve in 200 hours. From the moment you boot up the game, you know that May is not you. She is her own character and with her own interactions and history. The station has just something unforgettable about it. A somber but positive feeling. Almost like I want to chill out there forever with May. And you go on an adventure of a lifetime to what you can call an upward of sorts, and with other characters that are just as incredible and memorable. I'm not good at this. I cannot state how much I love Possum Spring. My Animal Crossing's village name is Possum, damn it. And you know about the gameplay? It is not entirely paper thin like I said. You actually have to explore Possum. In reward, you will get more content, which is just a stroke of genius. All, and I mean all of the characters in the town, despite being supposedly minor characters, are better than most game characters. How do they even achieve that? They have everything: charm, depth, flaws, worries, and everything. The emotive art style really helps out here. Then comes the supporting cast, which are just wonderful. May's mom and dad are giving surprisingly high amount of character development, and special side event is fully dedicated to May and her mom, Candy. The main group though is May, of course, B, Greg, Angus, and Jum. Well, there are special events, twice where you can hang out with Jum, once where you can hang out with Angus, once with Candy, and sometimes with a rad boy character I didn't know existed until the end. You will mostly spend time with B and Greg. I got the B ending, so she is also my second favorite character. The rest aside, they all are amazing. People say that characters should change as the story moves on, but I think they should rather be explored. Now I'm not being weird to look smart. What I mean is that the character should grow depending on the decisions made by the character, and we should get to know more about the character's personality, moral compass, and things like that more as the story goes on. Night in the Woods does exactly that. For example, B, starting from wacky mall girls party to the problems they really face. The only character I felt was a little underdeveloped was Germ, but I didn't hang out with him when I had a chance. The story is just a pillar for these characters, sort of. In fact, everything is. The music, visuals come together to form this atmosphere that you just don't want to leave. A good example would be May's Hurt Me monologue, which is done so perfectly. You get to see May's hardship as she makes mistakes, gets frustrated, cracks jokes, comforts people. She just isn't, hey, the main character is a female. No, she's so much more than that. And as you play the game, you grow increasingly more attached to her, to the point you make a whole video about the game. A big part of this can be contributed to the game's dialogue, but I think I've spoken enough. So, if you can tell by now, I love this game. The characters, atmosphere, relaxing feel, music, art style, the emotional impact. Some might say that watching someone else play is enough, but do you really want to play a game like this while someone shouts at commentary? No offense to Jacksepticeye, but this game is drastically different when played yourself, probably. It just feels more personal. Going through May's self-discovery in person is just special. This is the kind of game that I look forward to. Something that pushes the boundaries of the medium. Something that does something unique. Something that is atmospheric. Something with lovable characters. Something that can impact me in a way that I could never have imagined. For that reason alone, I give Night in the Woods a 10 out of 10, rare score. I medal between this and 9.8, and I'm still not completely sure, but anything that accomplishes what it achieved to do this perfectly, I don't think this score is an understatement. Even if this video doesn't get a whole lot of views, which, let's be real, is probably gonna be the case, I'm happy to introduce a couple of people to this gem, because May and her friends will always be special to me. Thanks for watching the video. You can request a review if you want. And now to a